Hello and welcome back to 199 at a time. The thieving grind is done, and now I'm moving on to farming. This is the last skill I need to do before I reach 500 total level, so I can start my prayer grind. And I have a few things I want to do during this grind to set my account up for the long term. First, I want to start stacking up herbs in my looting bag. I haven't really needed to use one on this account yet, and I'm going to need to start using it to hold all of the stuff I need to get 99 herb lore eventually. The bag is probably the biggest benefit of me having done magic and hit points early on in this account. Otherwise, I would have to hold off on starting herb lore until 750 total level for the last man standing shop without combat. I'll need to get around 1 million experience in regular herbs for potions eventually. At that point, I'll be 73 herb lore, which leads me to the next thing I want done before I move on to the next skill. I want to have a cactus planted in both cactus patches for cactus spines, and palm trees planted in the 5 fruit tree spots I have available for coconuts as well. Cactus won't be an issue, but the palm trees will, since I have to get them from farming contracts. This will set me up for the popular method of stored experience for Ultimate Iron Man of making Weapon Poison Plus eventually. And I intend to use that method for most of my herb lore grind. I also really want to get a Hesperia seed so I have a good death storage for later grinds. And the final thing I want to do is turn in as many plants at once as I possibly can. With those goals in mind, time to jump right into it. To start farming, I'm making super compost using pineapples from the charter vendors, as well as a seed vendor in Draenor for basic seeds to get me up to 20 farming. There's 20 farming, which lets me do the Garden of Death quest. It's pretty crazy that this gives 10,000 farming experience with almost no requirements. And there's 31 farming from knocking that out. A few farm runs later, there's 34 farming. I have a nice stack of super compost now. I won't be able to get ultra compost until I unlock Fossil Island and mining, so this is the best I can do. I probably should have started off farming with the Hosidius favor first, since I only need 34 for Tithe farm, but time to do that now. There's 5% favor from pushing carts. And for the rest of the favor, I'm making fertilizer. I grab some compost from the leprechaun near Hosidius allotment, and juggle it while gathering saltpeter nearby before I can combine it and turn it in for favor. After a couple of hours, there is 100% Hosidius favor and Tithe farm unlocked. This is where I'll be gaining the majority of my farming experience, and there are a few different ways to go about doing Tithe farm, including a few tick manipulation methods. But I think I'm going to just go with the more chill method of doing 20 plants at a time without trying to replant them as I harvest. I just plant 20 seeds in 5 areas while watering them as I go, and water them 2 more times before harvesting them. Turning in the plants after harvesting them is the majority of the experience. In retrospect, what I should have done at this point is gotten 45 farming to unlock the farming guild and started doing easy contracts to build up a seed pool for medium contracts. The medium area has a tree patch, which means I'll need tree seeds. Instead, I decided to do a bunch of Tithe farm and ended up getting nearly 2,000 plants in 9 hours before turning in. I couldn't find a very good Tithe farm calculator for experience, but knew that this would get me at least 54 farming for the next plant stage. Time to turn these in. And there's 57 farming. Well, those last 3 levels were a bit of a waste of time since the next plant is way better experience at level 54, but that puts me at 682 points. And I'm going to buy Grycolor's can so I can drop all these watering cans, as well as a seed box to save bag space for later, and auto-weeding. Moving on to the next tier of plants, there is 65 farming and 622 more points, and time to finally grab a looting bag from thugs in the Edgefield dungeon, since I'll be using my Tithe farm points mostly on herb boxes soon. I know killing rats is a popular way to get looting bags for ultimate since they're much lower hit points, but I can kill thugs while not even being in the wilderness if I want to. There's the bag after a few kills. I'll probably keep using the spot unless I find out there's a rat spawn in very low level wilderness. Back at Tithe farm, and I bought my farmer set and used the rest of the points on herb boxes. Unlike a normal account, I have to note all of the herbs I get from these at a tool leprechaun, which involves a lot of juggling. But the amount of herbs gained should be pretty decent as I'm leveling up to 99. This does leave my bag space pretty cluttered though, so I really need a way to easily get to the wilderness so I can store them in the looting bag. So I'm going to be switching to the Arceus spellbook for this grind. It's actually going to be a pretty convenient spellbook for farm runs as well as depositing stuff into my looting bag in the wilderness. The Mind Altar teleport puts me right next to the wilderness so I can store these herbs. The Draenor Manor teleport puts me next to the Falador herb patch, as well as close enough to the charter ship to access the Catherby and Ardoin patches. And the Battlefront teleport is my only way to get to the farming guild. There's a minigame teleport to access Tithe farm, so getting back there is not a problem. Now that I can move around easily, I'm going to start doing medium contracts in the farming guild. There's a chance I end up getting stuck with a contract for a maple or willow tree, which would be pretty annoying, since my only real way to obtain those seeds outside of farming contracts is pest control seed rewards. I'm no stranger to pest control, but I really don't want to go back there right now. And my first medium contract is a maple tree, of course. Well, I can turn that into an easy contract, so let's see what happens. Sweet corn. That's much better and very easy to get from the master farmer. And now that that's planted, I'll probably only go over contracts that I end up getting stuck with. From this point on, I'm just going to continue doing tithe farm and contracts as they complete. I decided to sell back the farmer set at 71 farming to get some bag space for master farmer, because I wanted to work towards getting a Hespori seed. Luckily, the vendor buys back the set for most of the point value, so it's not something I have to drop. And after looking up the rates of getting a Hespori seed, I decided to do a couple of hours of Master Farmer to get a bunch of herb and bush seeds, since bush seeds give me a pretty high rate of getting a Hespori seed. My farm runs take around 20 minutes since it's so much running to get to all the herb and bush patches. Back in Tithe Farm, and there's 74 farming for the final seed unlock and the best experience rates. I haven't really kept track of the XP rates with the previous plans, since I've been in and out of the farm so often, but the last one is over 100,000 experience an hour. And at level 77, I finally got a palm tree seed. I went ahead and planted it even though I don't have papaya to protect it, and it didn't die, so that's 1 out of the 5 fruit tree patches done. At 79 farming, I got another palm tree seed, but I lost it to someone while juggling items during an herb run. Not my best moment. I haven't even had the floor item timers on, so that's really on me. I'm sure most people would pick up a random palm tree seed if they saw one on a main account. I have the item timer now, and I'm going to try to only drop untradeable items when I have to juggle now. At least it wasn't a big stack of them. And at 83 farming, I was running really low on bag space, and had a good enough amount of seeds that I decided to drop my rogue's outfit. It can't be stored in a looting bag, and I'm really not having to do that much master farmer since I've built up a seed pool now. There's 85 farming, and hard farming contracts unlocked. What I should have been doing is holding on to all of the hard to get seeds for the easy farming contracts, because I can't get all of the seeds needed for hard contracts. That way, I can start at the hard contract, and always have no chance of getting a contract I can't complete when I lower the difficulty. And that's exactly what happened a few contracts later at 86 farming. A magic tree contract, into a pineapple contract, into an orange tree contract. None of which I had the seeds for. There are not many options for me to get this seed. My only method of obtaining one is killing mammoths in the wilderness. I was seriously debating just finishing off 99 farming without doing any more herblore preparation, but I only have one fully grown palm tree, and it would be pretty bad for the long term, so I decided to go into the wilderness without even making a death pile. I went ahead and did it on a high-risk world since I'd lose everything if I die anyways. I probably should have just dropped some items so I could death pile since my looting bag was pretty full. I'm just going to hover my teleport since I'm safe spotting them. This is only a 1 out of 64 drop chance, so I could be here a little while. Or not. 1 kill, and it drops the orange tree seed just like I planned. I'm definitely going to protect this. Hopefully I can get some low fruit seeds from contracts before I have to go back to mammoths again. And I did get a Hespori seed from checking a bush patch, but forgot to record it, so I now have my best and only easily accessible death storage unlocked for the rest of the grinds on this account. I ended up getting stuck with an apple tree easy farming contract though, without having any seeds at 88 farming, but at this point I've already had a palm tree planted in 3 of the 5 farming patches, while doing a bunch of herb and coconut runs. I had been too busy to do tithe farm, but I'm ready to push for the rest of my farming levels now, so I'll save getting the apple tree seed for later. This is what my looting bag looks like before 88 to 99 farming. As you can see, I've been doing quite a few farm runs. There's a pretty good amount of Irrit and Guam in there for some really easy experience. It would be really nice if I could eventually only have to use those 2 herbs to get 73 herblore. I have enough papayas to protect my last 2 palm trees in the gnome areas that are pretty out of the way for me at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and get those planted. And with that, I have palm trees in every fruit tree patch I can access now. My setup for long-term herblore experience is done. To start off the push for 99, it's time to get as many plants as possible for a big experience turn-in. I'll lose a couple thousand points doing a massive turn-in with plants, but if you've watched the rest of this series, it should be obvious I'm going to go for the biggest turn-in I can manage. Skipping ahead 50 hours, there is 9,988 plants. Yeah, it's not the clean 10,000 I would have liked. I got distracted with a phone call, and a few other things along the way, But either way, it's time for a huge turn-in. There's 3.5 million farming experience and 94 farming in about 2 minutes, which already puts me at the #1 spot for Ultimate Ironman experience turn-ins for a day. I guess no other Ultimates have been dumb enough to waste a bunch of points to get a big plant turn-in. I just bought grape seeds with most of these points so I could get back to Tithe Farm, and I'm not going to go crazy trying to stay up for 24 hours to compete with normal account records or anything, so I'll just see where I end up within the next 24 hours. And even 1,500 more plants, and I forgot to record turning it in, but it puts me at 4.1 million experience gain for the 24 hours. It's probably going to be a while before another Ultimate decides to break that. Nearly 3,300 more plants turned in for 96 farming, and this is what 1,000 points worth of herb boxes looks like. Nothing crazy, but it's over 200 herbs each time I do it, and I don't keep the Taroman or Marintals. Another 3,200 plants to turn in, and there's 97 farming. More plants, and 98 farming. Only 344,000 experience off 99. And finally, the last 1,000 plants I need to reach 99. There's 99 farming. Time to get the skill cape, and there it is. Not bad at all. Unlimited teleports to the farming guild and Hespori death storage unlocked. This skill took a lot longer than it would have if I had only focused on doing Tithe Farm. The total playtime was around 220 hours. A lot of that was doing some very inefficient farm runs that required a ton of running. But I am set up now to stack up a ton of Herblore experience over time. I'm ending up with a ton of herbs in my looting bag, and I'm probably going to clean it up a bit before I start the prayer grind. I accidentally put some trash in it while farming, as well as stuff I can just gather later. Before I end the video, sorry for anyone who's expecting some League content. I decided it wasn't something I wanted to make videos on after putting a few weeks into it, and I also had some stuff going on outside of the game, which delayed this video even further. In the future, I probably won't play Leagues, I just really like the base game. I'm actually looking forward to the prayer grind, and I'm ready to finally test out how I'm going to go about getting Zeal from Soul Wars. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all next time.